All right, my name is Rich Schmidt. I'm here at the Nicholson Library, Linfield College with Laurel Adams. This is January 9th, 2020. Thanks so much for joining us today, Laurel. We appreciate this. We're talking about Linfield football and history. Tell us a bit about your background before Linfield. Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Minnesota, and I had an uncle over in the country, the city next door, and he, when my dad's farm broke down in Minnesota, he pulled us all here, and I was 2 years old. And I lived in a farm just out of Dayton. And then my dad moved to another farm, and then we moved to Carlton, and then the World War II started. And I went to my mother and I said, "Mom, what is World War II?" Because all of our teachers were crying. And she said, "Well, they're fighting over there." Well, I had two older sisters, and she would always say, "Now you kids quit fighting." We were yelling at each other, so I thought this Army World War was going to be people yelling at each other. But I found out different later that it wasn't that way. And then we moved to McMinnville, and I lived just about 6 blocks from here with a close friend that lived much closer, and we used to come over here when we were in the 4th, 5th grade and play on the fields and all of that. And the football games, we didn't have football here then during the war because there wasn't enough men to play it. So that field was still out there. That was the only part of this area that was owned by the school, because the rest of it was all owned by private people. And on the when you turn off of this and come down that place right there where the big cafeteria is, there was a man that had a fishing thing, and you could go in there and try to fish, and that was kind of interesting. and so we would play on the field there, right there in that area. And one time when we got big enough, the 7th, 8th grade, we got to playing, and I'm telling something that probably shouldn't. You know the building that's right next in the field there, that open field? And we went down there and we would play, and they'd let us play. They'd had a little baseball field there. And so my friend threw the ball to me, and I hit it, and it went through and broke a window in that building. So we left there and went over to the old high school football field, which wasn't being used, and that's where we finished playing that year.
I think we just solved one of McMinnville's unsolved mysteries from the past there. They'll be happy to have that one off the list.
Yeah.
So we came back from World War II and decided to go to college. Tell me about that decision and decision to go to Linfield.
Well, we graduated I don't remember, from McMinnville High School, and started here, and the Korean War was going on. And so 3 of us quit here, went up to study or get into the Korean War. We found out that if we went to air jumping, we would not probably go to Korea. And so the 3 of us signed up for that. And I failed the test, and I don't even know why. I think it might have been something to do with my heart programming. And so I came back to McMinnville. We dropped out of Linfield. We'd only done 1 term. And the other 2 boys went clear over east and learned how to jump out of airplanes. And I came over here and worked in the service station. And then pretty soon I got a call from the government. The Korean War was still going on. And I went up to Portland, and I thought, well, I'll just win it. And pretty soon they said, "Okay, Adams, you're okay." I said, "What do you mean I'm okay? I failed a while ago." "No, you're okay." So I got called back in, and they sent me down to California, and I was studying there and going through training. And about the middle of our training, the war ended. So they didn't know what to do with us. And they sent us to Texas. And so we got over in Texas, and I didn't know what to do because my training was infantry, and I didn't know anything else. But when they got over there, they put us on tanks, and the tanks were brand new tanks with twin 40 millimeters on them, and that's what we did. And of course, we didn't have anybody to shoot at, except the airplanes would pull stuff, and we would shoot at what they were pulling and try to hit them and knock them off. And I spent the 16, 18 months down in Texas, and I met two friends. Still have one of them. The other one has passed away, and they're good Texas boys, and so I was down there. I came back and got into Linfield. And my first term, I didn't do anything except try to get my grades up. And then the next year, I went out for football, and that was what this is about. And I didn't play much. We just scrubbed around, and we played. I don't tell this very often, but we used to play our scrubs would play the varsity at in the college next door. What's the name of it?
George Fox?
George Fox. And they were real nice kids. They would knock you down, come over and say, I'd say, boy, you really hit me. Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry I did it. And they were real nice guys, you know. Then they closed up. They shut down. And we made a lot of fun out of it, and now they're really doing a good job. And
Tell me about coming back to Linfield after being in the military and being a little bit older. What was Linfield like when you came back as a student?
Very close. I don't remember how many students we had here, but it was pretty much the same. And we had, I think our old traditional member, I have a little problem remembering names anymore.
Okay.
And he was our one. He lived in the building here, the house, and he had a son our age, and he played with us at all the games. And it was, the heck was his name of it? I don't remember now. But I don't remember how many professors we had until we got the one that the lady came, and she was very nice. We liked her quite a bit.
So you decided to go out for football. What made you decide to go out for football?
Well, I wanted to be a coach. And so I did. I went out for football, and I made the football team. And I didn't do much in the varsity, of course, the first year, and then I quit and went to work in the service station. And then the next year I played a little bit more, and in my senior year I started 4 games as a center. And that's where we had the kids from over on the East Coast. And
what do you remember? What are the moments you remember from football here? Are there certain moments that stand out in your memory?
Yes, I got injured in one game, and I thought I was dead. I got kicked in the head, and that was funny. And we were blocking, and I was blocking this guy as a center, and somehow I got kicked in the head, and they hauled me in, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. But I was never really hurt too much, and and I was close to 200 pounds, and not real big, by today's world, 300 and some pound guys and all this. And we had 2 or 3 kids that came from junior colleges and played, and I always liked them. They were kind of fun and everything. And the African American kids were really great. And I remember talking about the one he was talking. I'd been in the Army I had 2 or 3 buddies there that we worked with. And he was always jabbering away, and I said, I'm sorry, shall I tell it? I said to him, I heard you talk, and you talk like an idiot. And he said, actually, sir, I can really talk well. And that's what he said to me, and made me. And he did do that. He was a neat kid. And I think he's come back here to Linfield, helped out a little bit, so. Yep.
Tell me about Paul Durham, about the coach.
Paul Durham was really a neat guy. He always had a little twinkle in his eye and kind of give in. And he knew me because we had a big farm over by Dayton. And his wife worked on that farm. And I worked out there too with her. So I knew her before I did even meet him. And I knew the kids. He had a kid that was quite a couple of years younger than I was. But I knew him, but he was a nice guy. And the other fellow was Durham. Paul, wait a minute. He played baseball at the school, the team in Portland.
Rutschman?
Rutschman. Ad Rutschman was a student with me when I was in high school. Not Ad Rutschman. Who was it? Gosh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Is it on here? He was a teacher a coach. He played Linfield. He was a Linfield graduate. And I don't know where they are here.
Yeah, coaches.
The coaches should be.
Coaches are, let's see.
Should be right. No, it should be.
I think they're only in the team picture.
Yeah.
So they're going to be
Okay.
on the edges, looks like.
Yeah. Well, these are student coaches here.
Okay.
This kid, I don't see him.
Okay.
And he was the basketball coach. Roy Helser. Roy Helser, yep. And he was a big star in Portland. Yeah, here he should be in here. Yeah, there he is right there.
Okay.
Yep.
And he was assistant football coach also.
Yeah, he was assistant football coach. And he had played football here in Linfield too, and so forth. So they were nice guys, and the other coaches were students, graduate students, And
You mentioned that you got into football because you wanted to be a coach. So tell me a little bit about what you took away from Durham and Helser and the other coaches.
Well, I really can't say too much on that, but because I knew that I'd played football all the way through high school and college, and baseball as well. And I played a little bit of it in the Army, but it wasn't real popular in there. We played it, in the World War II. They had that one place where you didn't tackle, and whatever it was called, I can't remember now. But we played all of that and everything. And we played that here at Linfield. And you had to throw the ball. You couldn't, do it and everything. So that was right. And I just knew I wanted to be a coach. And then I met a girl that had graduated from Oregon State, and she was in the teaching in the McMinnville High School, a year younger than I was. And so I thought she looked pretty good. And now we're married and have 3 kids. So I got my girlfriend there, and then my wife. So she's very, very good, very good. She was from up in Oregon, but okay.
So 1956 team, been kind of a streak of losing seasons before that. 1956 wins the league championship for the first time in a while. Yeah. Tell me about that team and about that season and sort of what that meant for you.
Well, looking at this team here, they were good kids, really, really good. And I've been thinking about, since you called me, thinking about what I should do, and I don't remember doing too much. I can't even remember who all we played, but we played the scrubs in that year, and then I quit towards the end of the season because I got a job working at a service station, and I needed the money, and so forth. And then next year I played it all year long, and I got to travel with the team, and we were flying. Well, that was my senior year. They had a couple of guys that bought an old airplane, not an old one, but not your old one, but our old one. And they bought those, and they were fly guys around. And they flew us over to Idaho when we played them. And then shortly after that, they crashed and killed a bunch of people. So they quit doing that. And we quit doing it too. But we would land in Portland, and then they would come up and pick it up. But we only flew the one over there. The rest of them we traveled on the ground pretty much, I kind of remember. So, yep.
So after winning, that league title in 1956, do you remember the football program changing in any way? Was there a different attitude about the team?
No, I didn't really realize we didn't major the team. I mean, we had some losses too, and so it didn't major the team. And I think that the whole thing is that we win more than we lose. Isn't that what this is all about? Mm-hmm. And that was what we've done it, and we've done that. And when we first found out about it, and that was after I graduated, we and Notre Dame and one other team were in that league to be the most major winning seasons. And then we just went on. Our school here is way above everybody else. So that was good, and that was pretty good, as far as I know, as a matter of fact. So you probably know more about it than I do.
Tell me about after you graduated from Linfield, what you did post-graduation.
Okay. My wife had the job in McMinnville High School, teaching home ec to the ladies on how to do this home stuff. Now there's got boys doing it too, so but they didn't then. And so we looked at it, and I was going to get a job where I could be a coach. And I went around, and everybody wanted to hire her, but nobody wanted me. But then we found somebody down in Central Oregon, and he wanted me to really come down there. And so then I went there, and then one day when I was working at my gas station, and the superintendent, Fred Patton, we had Patton Middle School here in McMinnville. Well, his son was a good friend of mine, and he still is. He's still around. And Fred was buying gas from the station, and here I was pumping it, because we didn't have those you put in and ran around. You had to hold the things, in those days. And so Fred is standing there, and he says, "Laurel, you got a job yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't." "Go tell Jim Lockett over at Memorial School to hire you." That's what he told me. So, and Jim Lockett bought gas from me too, so I knew him. And so I got hired, and I was a coach. I worked with the kids, and that was so much fun for 3 years. Then Lafayette closed their school and joined McMinnville school system, and they sent me over there to take over, because the lady that was running it, they had 4 teachers over there, and they were their own system. And the lady that was running it turned 75 years old, and she had to quit. So I went over there in March and became the principal, and I was there for about 5 years. And then I came back and got the old Columbus School. Do you know where that was? Right over the mountain here, right on there. And now they've moved it clear up there, and because it got caught in a storm and moved the whole thing. That was after I was done. I was there for 10 years after I came back from over there. Then I went to the new school that's on the highway here, up there. So we had 3 grade schools in at that time.
Were you coaching as well while you were doing that?
No, not really. I didn't. We had a coach. We had usually 1 or 2 men in the thing, and they did most of the coaching. And they didn't have a lot of coaching at that time: baseball, basketball, and scrub football. That team where you didn't tackle. So
flag football.
Flag football. And then I finished my career in sometime or other. About 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And so anyway, I've been around. Mm-hmm.
So did you keep up with the Linfield football team as an alum? Did you come to games and sort of follow the program?
Yes, we could come to the games, and at first we didn't come very often, my wife and I. But then later on, we found out that we could get into it, and so we did do it. We do have seats there now, and we go to it, and I love it. So they did some change on something or other that ticked us off, and I quit going for a while. But after I coached, so I could use my coaching thing to come in and play, and then something happened and they changed it, and I don't know what it was. I wouldn't say, but somehow I lost the seat. We did. Yeah.
So what is it like watching Linfield football through the years now and in the past?
It's great. It's great. I love it. Yep. We've got a good seating, and once they get down on that end of the field, I have to lean forward a little bit, but other than that, I can see the whole thing. And there's all kinds of my friends too that I played with and knew and that are there, and we go to at halftime. We go all down and talk about it, and my wife likes to go too.
So as you've seen the streak continue now, where this was the 64th season in a row, what does that mean to you to have been a part of the team that started that?
Well, I can't put it all together solidly because I can't tell you how many we won when I was a senior. I don't remember. I could look it up, and I don't even have a senior. I have one of these home that somebody gave them to me, one of the other students, and he gave me a couple of old. Somehow they got him, so I don't really have a lot of my school ones, but yeah, and I really liked. I had a fellow that I played golf with. I joined the golf club up here, and he was from England, and he loved football, but he also got the places for the basketball. And he didn't know anything about basketball, so he'd call me up, and he'd take me to the games at basketball, and I loved that too. I didn't play basketball at all ever, but I loved to watch it. And then he passed away sometime or other. He was a good guy, great guy.
So you've been around the area long enough. You've seen Linfield, the campus, change quite a bit.
Exactly.
Obviously, the building you're in now wasn't part of the campus. Tell me about what it's like being back on campus now and seeing what it looks like.
It's a little weird. Where your dinner place is and all of that was not part of it. The place where the athletic field is over here, and basketball field, that was not part of it. They brought a bunch of houses from the airport, or the field, military field down. They brought them up here and put them along, and because guys were coming out of the Army at that time, and they would have kids. And when I was in junior high in grade school, we went to the 8th grade and then went up to a 2-year junior high. McMinnville has the first junior high school in the West Coast, as I understand it. And because we didn't have it, and that was way, way back. And so we would go up there as a junior high, 8th and 9th, or 7th and 8th. And then one year they moved that around because they had so many little kids in the two schools, Columbus and Cook. And so they moved the 8th grade up to the junior high. So I was in the junior high 3 years, 8th, 9th, and 7th. No, what would that be? 6th, 7th, and 8th. Yeah, and then 9th grade was high school, I think, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because all the baby boomers.
Yeah.
They were overloading the schools.
They were overloading the schools. Yep. And then they built Memorial School. Was built sometime after the war. And Newby was the one that I finished in, and now we've got 3 more. And they've moved the district over into to the school over to the Cook School, and they're there. So
Gonna pause.
kids, because we were close by and they didn't bother us, and until we broke that window. And I don't think they even knew who broke it. But
They probably wouldn't have let you into Linfield if they had known.
oh, I know it. Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, just give me a clap.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
So as you look at the sort of the future for Linfield and for the football team, what do you hope for the future of Linfield, the school and the football program?
Well, I would say that the way they're winning, getting there, and if there's any movement to pull them into a new league, would kind of bother me a little bit, I think. But I think it might work, too, because, and I don't even know in Oregon what it would be, because I don't think we have that much here. California's got a good part of it, and Washington probably a little more than that, but we have a pretty common league, and I'm not really sure where it is compared to the big leagues over there. You guys probably know that now, but I don't pay too much attention to it anymore. But they're really good. I think they play well. They get good students. I don't know the coaches really too well now, but I know that they did have some very, very nice coaches and brought them in and everything like that. But in my day, we had 2 paid coaches. And I don't know that those student guys were getting money. They may have been. I don't know. But they were doing something to help us a lot. And they would be kids that were stars, and then they'd come and do the senior programming. So, and now I think Linfield has got both elementary and secondary education, doesn't it? Yeah. It didn't have it then when I was there, all was secondary. You couldn't come out of grade school and out of Linfield and go to a...
Definitely have elementary education.
Yeah, you have elementary, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when someone says Linfield or you hear the word Linfield, what does that mean to you?
Well, I know where it came from. Do you?
I do know where it came
Yeah,
from.
Mrs. Linfield. And she gave it, what, $1 million or something like that? But it was Linfield University. I work in a program out here, a county program, and they've got a picture of the main building here that was open. Have you seen that? There is no highway around it or anything. But see, there was the Baptist, the Baptist church people started it. And there was... As I said before, there was a funny thing because one of the men was named Adams. So my girls said that it was me. Told their friends that it was my dad got that. And it was, he was a minister, I believe, here in town, way back, when they were developing that. And I understood that's how it came out and got started. And it was pretty well, when I came here as a student, I remember driving school bus after I got out of the Army, and I could come and park right in front of the building. Now I see all these cars around, and it drives me nuts because there wasn't too many people that had cars in those days, and I think it was probably 100, 150 kids or something like that. So. But they all have cars now.
Yeah, I was wondering, what do you remember about your equipment, your football equipment, like your helmet?
Football equipment.
Yeah. Tell
Well,
us about that.
when I came, I played 4 years at Linfield at high school, and when I came back out of the Army, they gave me the helmet, and it had a great big thing on my face, and I thought, what in the world is this? Well, that was the mouth. That was the thing. We never had that in high school. And that was the only thing that was different, really, they weren't soft. I mean, they weren't the soft stuff like we had in high school. But we got plastic ones, too, in high school. But other than that, yeah, I felt kind of different when I had to wear that thing on my mouth and my face.
So did it help? Like in high school, did you ever get popped in the nose?
Oh,
versus college?
no, not really, not really. I don't remember getting injured at all, hardly in high school, too much. I played, I was left-handed, I am left-handed, and I played 2 years scrub, and when I got into the varsity, we had a big varsity team that was supposed to win the championship for the city, or the state. They never did. They got beat all the time. And they, when we got into it my junior year, they pulled me off because I was left-handed, and they wanted to have a left-handed thrower to pitch it. So they pulled me off, and I didn't get to play too much more than that. But I'd play. I'd get letters. You know, I got letters. And I had three letters, and 2 letters. Yeah, but we had a bunch of hotshot kids that were playing it ahead of us that were really good, and they did the big thing.
So you said you played center here at Linfield.
At Linfield.
How big were you in college?
How much? Oh, I was around 200 pounds. Yeah.
It's a little different than that.
Yeah.
You're a little bigger now.
Yeah. I'm probably weighing 210, 215 now. 10, 12, yeah.
But now our centers are like 280.
Oh yeah, 280, yeah. Well, I was probably just around 200, to be honest with you. Maybe not even 200. I don't really know. We never weighed each other in those days, so.
Was that a position that you wanted to play, or did they say, "Oh, we need a center," and you?
Yeah. When I first came out, I wanted to play backfield because that's what I did in high school. And then the coach, I think it was Durham, that came to me one day and said, "Would you like to be a center?" And I said, "Sure, I don't care." So I moved in to be a center. So they had plenty of others. So
I didn't know if it's because you were like a big, strong farm boy, and that's what.
yeah, right. Well, I wasn't on the farm then. I got off the farm when I was in the first grade. My dad worked in the sawmill, and so we moved to Carlton and went there. And
are there specific players that come to mind on that team of really being exceptionally talented or leaders?
Yes. I look at these guys, and they're really good. Vic Fox and Jerry, all those guys were real good. And most of them were real nice kids too. But they were all younger than I was when I came on it. And I don't remember Howard Glenn. I remember the name, and I remember him, but we had, I don't see him in here. Oh yeah, there he is, right there, yeah. But all these guys, here's a bald-headed guy. There was quite a few veterans that came in and played then because they were getting out of the Army. Yep.
In your view, do you think those players who just were discharged from the military had a sort of a physical advantage over some of the younger players, maybe gave Linfield an advantage over maybe some of our peers?
I don't know. I'm not real sure on this team how many of those guys had been in the military besides me. I'm sure there was more than one there, more than me, but most of the time they had never been in the military. Yeah. I know he was, this fellow here, the coaching guy. I have to think about that. I don't remember. Anyway, they had those. Yeah, there was some good kids in there, and yeah, I don't think of all the time I've played in sports and stuff, you can see here, it doesn't look like they have things on their face. Look at that. See right there? They got something around their chin.
It's like the one bar. Just
Yeah,
like the single bar.
right.
Single bar face mask.
Could be.
There's a lot of good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, here's the field where we broke the window. And let's see, the college kids, the baseball. Yeah, those are good kids. I remember a lot of them. Yeah, yep. 1957, yeah. Okay. Well,
You guys got anything else? All right, well, thank you, Laurel,
I
so much for
thank
sharing
you.
your time with us today. And
well,
sharing some stories.
yeah, I babble everywhere. My wife says you talk too much.
It's the perfect thing for someone on the camera, so we appreciate that.
Right, right.
We'll go ahead and let you off the hook here.
And
Thank
you'll
you.
have it, you're putting it in a book, is that right?
We're
Or
gonna put it on our collection online of interviews, and we're not sure what we're gonna do with it after that.
Yeah.
We're gonna do something with it
Yeah,
once we have
yeah.
once we've compiled enough interviews. We'll do something. But
well,
I'm
if you
not
if
sure what
you
it'll be.
put it all together, I'm sure you're getting more than me, aren't
Yes.
you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We got some more guys coming in a couple of weeks.
Have you really?
Hoping,
Yeah.
hoping to get 8, 10, 12 interviews if we can.